Okay, today is a collab between Strict Studios and JWDA, and we are going to be talking about a problem that we see from two angles. People want leads. Business owners are looking for leads, and they often turn on ads to achieve that goal. But the website and the follow-up aren't set to convert. So, the quick introduction: I'm Jamie Wells from JW Digital Marketing Advisory, and I build paid growth systems, ads, plus the funnel path, tracking, and follow-up, so traffic turns into qualified inquiries.
And I'm Anastasia from Strict Studios. I build conversion-focused websites for service businesses with clear messaging, strong structure, and the trust pieces that actually help people take action.
So if you're planning to run ads soon, or you're already running them and results are feeling a little bit inconsistent, this will help you see what's missing. And today we're going to break down why running ads doesn't fix a website that isn't built to convert. Anastasia is going to cover the website side of things, clarity, structure, conversion basics, and I'll bridge it to what happens once you start paying for your traffic. Tracking, messaging, match, follow-up, and where marketing spend gets wasted when those pieces aren't in place. So first question for you, Anastasia: when a service business comes to you for a website, how do you assess whether they have or what they are planning is actually built to convert into leads versus just looking the part?
So honestly, the first thing I look at isn't the design, it's clarity. So can I tell within 5 seconds what they do, who it's for, and what I'm supposed to do next? If I have to think about it, that's already a problem. I also look at the user journey. So if somebody lands here for the first time, where do they go next? Is there a clear next step, or are we just hoping that they click around? And then the next big one is intent. So is this site built to get leads, or is it built to look nice? What action do we want to see the user take when they land here? Is it solely brand awareness, or do they actually want to drive traffic to their store, get quote requests, or online purchases? A lot of sites these days are basically set up like a digital brochure, and they look good, but they don't necessarily guide anybody towards taking an action.
Yeah, what you just said is the number one thing I see on the ad side, which is paid traffic is impatient. So if someone clicks from an ad and can't instantly tell, am I in the right place or what do I do next? Your cost per lead is going to climb fast. Not because the ad was bad, but because the page didn't finish the job. So let's talk about the biggest conversion killers we see before a campaign even has a chance. If you could tell us, Anastasia, what are the most common structural mistakes that you see on a service business website when they're about to invest in paid ads or marketing? Not the design preferences like the color or font, but things that actually kill the conversion before the campaign even has a chance.
So the biggest issues I see are usually structural and not visual. So first, there's no clear headline. So you land on the page and you still don't know what they actually do. Also, no call to action above the fold, or it's vague, like learn more. To clarify, above the fold means the top section of the website that is visible when the page loads before the user scrolls. A third common issue is when there are too many competing messages. So when the website is trying to speak to everybody at once, when it should be more tailored to your offer specifically or your target audience. Another big one is lack of trust signals. So there's no testimonials, no real proof of work, no examples, especially before asking somebody to book or get a quote. And then friction or barriers to continue is rather common as well. So long, confusing forms, too many steps, or just too many options. So if it feels like work, people won't do it, especially if they came from an ad. Another big one I see is around service pages or the lack of them. So a lot of sites just list their services on the homepage, but they don't actually have dedicated pages that go deeper into each one. So from a conversion and even an SEO standpoint, that's a big missed opportunity. If somebody is looking for a very specific service, they should land on a page that's fully about that and not just a general overview of the business. I always think of it like each page having a job. So the homepage is to confirm they're in the right place and build initial trust. Service pages are to educate, explain the offer, and give them a clear way to move forward. And the about page is to build deeper trust and credibility. When those roles aren't clear, the whole site feels disconnected and conversion drops.
Yeah. And that's why I always say ads don't create a problem. They reveal them at speed. When you're paying per click, every extra step or vague CTA or missing trust signal becomes a measurable leak. So if you're sending paid traffic to a homepage, for example, you're usually asking the visitor to do the work and they won't. So instead of debating on fonts or colors for a couple hours, just record a 45 to 90-second video that answers who you do or who you help, what you do, and what happens next. And that will usually move the needle a lot further than a color palette. Which brings us to the homepage's real job when we land someone there from a cold ad. What does the homepage need to do, not look like, but actually do for someone who's clicked on an ad and landed there for the first time with no prior context about the business?
So like previously mentioned, your homepage has one job. So quickly confirm they're in the right place and immediately show them what to do next. So for somebody coming from an ad, they have near zero context about your business. So the homepage has to do a few things fast. First, explain what you do, show who it's for, then build trust, and then finally lead them to an action. It's about naturally leading your audience from one section to the next and guiding them towards the action or next step that you want them to take. A good homepage doesn't just present information, it moves people towards a decision.
Yeah, for sure. And, not that we're necessarily landing paid traffic onto the homepage, but from a funnel perspective, when they land on the site, they might click over to the homepage and use that as like a yes, no filter. Did they come to the right place? Quickly build trust and then, lean on that homepage to continue to route them to the next step. If you try and make the homepage do everything, it's usually not going to do much.
Exactly.
And then there's the big question business owners ask us all the time: when is a simple setup enough? Or when do you need a more substantial build? So can they get away with something basic just to get something live and start testing? Or when do you have to make the switch from that over to a fully custom conversion focused site?
Well, there's definitely a place for simpler sites, especially early on, which is why I offer a microsite package. If you're just getting started, you don't necessarily need that massive multi-page custom build. You just need something clear and functional to help with brand awareness. But you'll know that your business has outgrown that when you're investing in traffic. So ads or anything like that. If you want consistent leads, not just occasional inquiries, or you're trying to position yourself at a higher price point, therefore needing to increase your brand's perceived value. That's usually the turning point when the website needs to start really performing and not just existing. So once you're paying to bring people in, your site has to do its job or you're just leaking money.
Yeah, totally. And I'll just add to that, if someone clicks on an ad and lands onto the site with zero context, that's a big ask. So even the simple funnel usually needs a couple pages that build trust and answer questions before somebody's ready to inquire. It doesn't have to be a huge site, just something to support the decision. And, for mature brands, the site supports multiple funnels, usually one funnel per service. And that's why those bigger sites aren't fluff. They're actually clarity at scale. So with that in mind, if a business owner said to you, I'm planning to run ads in the next 60 days, what are like 3 things you would tell them to sort out before spending $1 on traffic?
So first would be to clarify your offer. What exactly are you selling and why should somebody choose you? If that's not clear, ads just won't fix it. Second is make sure that there's a clear conversion path. So one primary action, book, call, submit, whatever it is, and make that easy to do. And then third, add trust. Why should they choose you? Use your testimonials, real results, photos that aren't stock photos, anything that makes you feel legitimate and credible. And honestly, I'd also say have somebody unbiased look at it to test it themselves, because if they're confused, your leads will be too.
Yeah, I love how you said clarify the offer, make a clear conversion path and trust. And on my side, I'd also add message match. So if the ad promises one thing and the page feels too generic or different, people will bounce and your costs will go up. So to have an idea of what you're promoting throughout the website build process will be helpful later on. And once we have a really solid front end established, the pages on the site that the people can see, I think there's a part after that that the people often forget, which, happens behind the scenes. So when those clicks actually turn into tracked leads, can you tell us about things that happen behind the scenes to support growth in site traffic and lead inquiry form submissions?
Yeah, so this is something a lot of people overlook, but it does make a huge difference, especially as traffic starts to increase. So, the first thing is what happens immediately after somebody takes action? When they fill out a form, what happens next? Are they just left wondering if it went through, or did they get clear confirmation? Even something simple like a thank you page can go a long way. You can confirm their submission, set expectations, and even guide them to book a call or check something else out. And same with email follow up. So, an automatic confirmation email, even a simple one, will help build trust and reliability right away. For service based businesses specifically, speed and clarity in follow up is huge. If somebody is reaching out, they usually have a problem that they want solved pretty quickly. So, having a system that alerts you right away or routes leads properly can make a big difference in whether that lead turns into a client. On the back end, tracking where leads are coming from so you aren't just guessing what's working becomes really important as you start investing in marketing. And then there's lead quality. So even small things like adding a couple of intentional questions to your form can help filter out whether they're the wrong inquiries. And that way you're not just getting more leads, you're getting better ones. At the end of the day, it's not just about getting the lead, it's about what happens in those first few minutes to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, that's a big takeaway. You don't really need more pages. You really need that clear path. A simple flow of pages that's clear, credible, and easy to act on will outperform anything that's bigger and confusing.
Mhm.
Um, for a business that's not quite ready for that full custom build yet, what exactly do we need on that minimum landing page or site so that they have, everything in place they need for their early marketing investments to not be wasted while they're working towards something more?
Okay, so if you're not ready for a full multi-page build yet, that's totally fine. But the baseline for a microsite would be you need a clear headline that says what you do and who it's for, a simple explanation of your service or offer, at least one strong call to action, some form of trust, testimonial examples, or just real photos, and how can they reach you? Contact information, a form on your website, or even just your socials. And honestly, just keep it simple. One page done well is better than 5 pages that confuse people. One thing that works really well at this stage too is using anchor links in the navigation. So even if it's a single page, people can click services or about, and it jumps down to those sections and it gives the feeling of a full website without the investment of building multiple pages right away. And it's really important to think of a microsite as a working version, not a final version. So something that can support your marketing without holding you back, and it can grow with you.
Yeah, exactly. I love the microsite idea because it gets you moving without overbuilding. And once you have something clear and functional live, you can start building an audience, video views, page visits, form submissions. And that engagement data really tells you what people actually care about. So then you're not guessing when you're investing in the next page or your next offer or your next campaign.
Mhm.
If you want to pressure test where you're at right now, grab the free resource Anastasia and I put together website and ads readiness checklist. I'll link it below, and that will show you whether you're site first or marketing ready and what to fix next. Thanks so much for tuning in today.
Thanks, guys.